That's a lot of books. Okay, let's get right into it. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Katie. If you did not know, now you do. And today we are doing a very big book unhaul. That's right, we're getting rid of books. So we're doing a book unhaul. Yeah, we're getting rid of some books. I've seen a lot of TikToks recently kind of bashing over consumerism of like buying a bunch of books and not reading them. And while yes, I do contribute to that over consumerism, I like my books and I hold them very dear to my heart. However, there are some books that just don't hit different. They don't hit. And today we are going to be looking at the books that I just sold on Facebook Marketplace actually, and why I'm getting rid of them. And I just want to let you guys know that this might not be because the book is bad or the author's bad. It's just like some of the books I didn't vibe with. It really is just gonna depend like per book. So yeah, let's get right into the video. First book I'm getting rid of is The Upside of Falling by Alex Light. This is a Wattpad book. I read this a year or two ago and I think I rated it like 3 stars. I don't think, maybe 2.5. If I remember correctly, it wasn't anything, I don't want to say special because that feels rude. It just wasn't something I'm going to see myself picking up ever again. All of the books I have here that I've read before and I am keeping are, all the books I have here that I've read before and that I'm currently keeping, I'm keeping them because I want to reread them. Some of these books I have reread multiple times. A lot of these books are also books I haven't read yet, but were gifted to me for free, or I got them for a good price, or you know, whatever. But this book, I don't see myself ever reading her again. It's just like a little YA romance. I think there's fake dating, football player, and like shy nerdy girl. It's kind of what you expect the epitome of a YA Wattpad novel to be, and it wasn't for me. So we're saying goodbye to The Upside of Falling. Next I have The Girl I Used to Be by April Henry. This is like a YA mystery thriller. This girl's mom gets murdered when she was 3 years old, and 14 years later there's like a hit in the case. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think she meant a break in the case. It's a break in the case. It's not a hit in the case. I'm assuming that's what I meant. There's more information, and she goes back to her hometown to essentially help solve the murder of her mother, because I believe in the book, I don't think this is a spoiler, it's rumored that it was her dad because he also went missing around the time of the murder, but she doesn't think so. So she goes back to essentially find who the killer is before the killer finds her. It was good. I don't remember what I rated it. I also read this a while ago. Again, it's not one I find myself picking up ever again. It was good. It was cutie. Well, not cutie. Cutie in the sense of like, I enjoyed it. I just don't see myself ever picking this up again. And it's at no fault of the book, and purely just because it was okay. It wasn't my favorite. So this next book might cause some controversy, but I ended up accidentally finding myself with a second copy, which is why I am getting rid of Throttled by Lauren Roberts. This is the original indie published Lauren Asher. Hello. Anyways, the indie published version of Lauren Asher's Throttled. This is the first book in the Dirty Air series. I believe this one is a Formula One book between a girl named Maya and a boy named Noah. Noah races in Formula One. Maya is basically, in the back just says a forbidden temptation. I will be honest, I have not read this series. Yes, I do have the whole series. I just haven't read it yet. I bought the whole series on Facebook Marketplace actually, not remembering I already had the first copy. So yeah, we are selling this for no nefarious reasons. No, I hated it. No, I didn't like it. Simply because I unintentionally found myself with the second copy. Next, we have a book called Biggest Flirts by Jennifer Eccles. Apparently, she wrote a book called Endless Summer and Dirty Little Secret. I bought this book when I was 15, something like that. I don't know. When I bought this book, these books were $10. So it's it's been a while. I remember trying to read it at one point and then DNFing it, not knowing what DNF meant at the time, and I've never gone back to it. I thought I was going to. I haven't. About this girl Tia trying to hook up with the new guy, and I don't really know, to be honest. I have not thought about reading this book or about picking it up in literal years, so it seemed like time to give it a new home. I also don't love the people on the cover. That's a nitpicky thing. Next we have After the Fall by Kate Hart. Again, this was, I think it was given to me for free, and I just never felt the need to pick it up. It's about a girl named Rachel, 17 years old. She's sleeping with two boys, her best friend Matt and his brother Andrew. I think that is one of the main reasons why I immediately went, no thank you. Because sleeping with her best friend, that's one thing. His brother, hello? Okay, Elena. I guess it kind of follows her journey sleeping with both the brothers and then I guess deciding she doesn't want to sleep with one of them. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, after I saw that she sleeps with both of them at the same, not the same time like they're together, but like within the same time frame or whatever, I just immediately was like, meh, I don't want to read this. So next we have Not If I Save You First by Allie Carter. This one was actually pretty good if I remember. It is about Maddie and Logan is like the president's son, and Maddie was like the top Secret Service guy's daughter, and her and Logan were best friends, but then after a like attack at the White House, Maddie's dad, who is the Secret Service guy, drags her ass to Alaska, which is where I'm from and I currently live, which is, I think, the reason why I picked this up in the first place, to essentially keep her safe. But then 6 years later, Logan shows up because there is another danger to the White House, and Maddie's dad is the only one that can protect them. However, stuff happens and Maddie and Logan end up on the run in the Alaskan wilderness. I'm surprised I remembered that much. I remembered liking it, but I do also remember the ending was kind of like, eh. And the whole reason why Maddie and Logan had stopped talking in the first place, I was super annoyed by. I was like, are you joking? That's the whole, like, there's no reasoning. He just didn't respond anymore. Hello? But yeah, it wasn't for me, and I don't think I'm ever going to pick this up ever again. Next, we have a novella called Prom House. This is just like a short little horror. It's about Kylie. She's at this like beach house with her friends after prom, and you know, there's like a storm, the power shuts out, somebody ends up dead. I'm gonna be honest, the romance that they put in this felt really fast. Again, it's a novella. Who the killer was revealed to be, I felt was kind of obvious, and I just feel like the story could have been really good if it had been stretched a couple, maybe another 100 pages. It could have been really good. However, it was so much you were trying to get in so little time, and I think that it just fell flat for me because of that. It's nothing against the book. It was decent from what I recall. It was like a 2 or 3 star. It just isn't, it's not something I feel drawn to ever read again. Next, we have Dear Nobody, The True Diary of Mary Rose, which is edited by Gillian McCain and Legs McNeil. Legs McNeil? Okay. I don't know if this is a legitimate diary, but it is written as a legitimate diary, just like typed up, and it even has like drawings and pictures. I read this when I was 14 and I will be 24 in October, so I've had this book almost 10 years. It's time to give her a new home. I remember liking it a little bit, not a lot. I don't remember absolutely loving this book, especially with how big it is, but I remember liking it and learning more about the disease that this person, Mary Rose, has. It follows Mary, and she has this disease that's kind of limiting her life, and it's following her struggling with that, but also struggling with other personal struggles like dating and that kind of thing, and being sick but also not having the best home life. She gets arrested, she gets into trouble, and it's just like a lot. Yeah, so at the time of reading it, it was probably a really, really good book. Now I don't feel the need to read this again. It's, you know, it's written as in the diary style of a teenage girl by a teenage girl, allegedly. I am no longer a teenage girl, so I felt like it was time to give it a new home, because it was just collecting dust on my bookshelf, and I'm not going to keep books that I don't either plan on reading or want to reread, and this is one of them that she was collecting dust. So next we have We Are the Ghosts by Vicky Skinner. I have not read this one, however, it wasn't one I found myself wanting to read. It's about a girl, Ellie, her brother, I believe his name is Luke. He dies in a car crash, and she's struggling with grief. She like breaks up with her boyfriend, and then she receives like a mysterious package, and so she teams up with Luke's best friend and Luke's ex-girlfriend to figure out who the package is from, what's going on, etc, etc, etc. And yeah, again, I have not read this. It's just one, like, it sounds interesting, it does. It's just, I know me, and I know that in the coming months, I probably won't be picking this up. I have other books on my TBR that have more priority, and this book has already been sitting on my shelf for 2 years untouched, and it's not fair to have, this book is brand new, minus a couple scrapes and bruises and oozes. Anyways, it was gifted to me, if I remember correctly, but it's not drawn me in enough to want to keep it. So it is time that this book also found a new home. Next, we have a book called Stags by M.A. Bennett. This one is about these like kids, mainly this person named Greer, at a preparatory school, very preppy school. Newcomers like Greer are like not welcome, so she's either bullied or ignored, and essentially she's shocked when she gets this invitation to participate in this like secret game, Stags, which is also the name of the school. I believe it's like an acronym for the school. I've read 3 other books like this, if I'm being so honest with you, which is why this book is going somewhere else, because I have no desire to read this, having read 5 other books, not like literally 5 other books, but like 5 other books, plot lines just like this. It's nothing against the book. I don't find myself wanting to read this because it doesn't have a story that's new and interests me. I've read like a bunch of other books like this. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, and this could be so different from every other preparatory school with a secret hidden game that the adults don't know about but kind of do but don't. But I just don't find myself ever gravitating towards the idea of even reading this. So next we have Meet Me at Midnight by Jessica, I don't know because this part is ripped off. This was a book I got for free, and it's a YA romance, enemies to lovers. It's about these 2 people, Sydney and Asher, and they're both swimmers. They're both like rivals. They hate each other, their family hates each other. It's very much giving Romeo and Juliet, but without death. And then they get their families kicked out of their lake houses, so they like team up or something. I have not read this. I have no desire to, and also it's ripped. I didn't pay for this. It wasn't a Christmas gift or anything. It was just like, hey, I have some free books. Do you want them? And you can pick through what you want and get rid of the rest. I said yes. I did not go through them for like a year. Was going to try and read this. I've just decided it's not worth it. Oh, Jessica Pennington. So my apologies to Jessica Pennington. I will not be reading this book, but yeah. So next we have a book called The Cage by Megan Shepherd. This one is about like 5 teenagers who are taken captive. The main one is named Cora. She's taken captive like with 4 other teenagers and put in some sort of like otherworldly cage. The cover is giving sci-fi. The description wasn't, but they're being watched. They're trapped in an alien environment, and she's falling for someone who may or may not be her captor. I thought this was YA, but maybe I'm wrong. I have no desire to read this. I have not read this. I probably will not read this, and that is why I'm getting rid of this book. I'm speed rounding it at this point. I don't want this video to be 40 minutes long of me just telling all the reasons why I'm getting rid of these books, but I am getting rid of this because I have no desire to read it. It is nothing against the author and everything to do with the fact that it just does not appeal to me. So next we have 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. It's about Sophie. She just wants like a little bit of freedom for Christmas. That's like her big Christmas wish, you know? So when her parents go to Louisiana to spend time with Sophie's pregnant sister, Sophie's like, yay, freedom. Wrong. She ends up going to her grandparents' house after her boyfriend dumps her, and her family like teams, like she's a big extended family. She, I believe, is a person of color, so a huge extended family is part of her like identity, which I thought was very cool. But basically she goes to save their grandparents because she's heartbroken, she's upset, and her family makes a poll essentially of like who can get her the best blind date, and she has to rate the dates after she's had them. I would be furious if that was my family, but this is a fake book, a fictional book. I liked it. It was cute. I just don't think I'm gonna read it again. Christmas books are very hard to like buy. I've started to like notice, because I think Allie Good said it really well. She said something in a recent video I watched where she was essentially like, She feels like she's got to stop buying Christmas books. This is a very rough quote, by the way. This is very, very, like, this is not what she said, but kind of what she said, or what I took from what she said. Essentially, what I took from what she said was that there's no point in buying Christmas books because they're only really good for like one holiday and they're kind of hard to reread. And this is one I just don't see myself rereading. I do have a couple Christmas books that I've read and I plan on keeping and will reread. She's just not one of them. Which leads me to Talk Santa to Me by Linda Urban. It does have a rip in the corner. That is not why I'm getting rid of this book. I read this and was instantly brought back to trauma from one of my old jobs. It's about this girl, Frankincense. Why? Why did we name her Frankincense? If I have one huge qualm about this book other than it literally traumatized me because it brought me back to memories of a job I've worked at before, why did they name her Frankincense? I have beef with the name alone. I digress. It's about frankincense, but they call her Francie. She's born in a stable. Basically, her whole personality and her family's whole personality is Christmas. I love Christmas. She's one of my favorite holidays. Y'all already know this. I literally sent Steph Bohr a Christmas gift because I felt like it. But this is a little much. So Francie is born in a stable in a holiday like shop situation. And basically she lives at this like Christmas farm. It's open year round. She works at the Christmas farm. But when her grandpa, who was one of the Santa Clauses, passes away, she finds herself not really believing in the spirit of Christmas. And her dad, I guess, wants to kind of like take a step away because he's very stressed out. And so her aunt, who I believe her name is Carol, everyone has like a Christmassy-ish name, wants to take over the business and like kind of turn it into something it's not. She kind of enlists the help of this cutie guy named Hector. Hector and her best friend, I don't remember the name of her best friend, they essentially team up to save Christmas. Save the Christmas farm, save the business. Look, she wasn't for me. We're gonna end it there. So next we have a book called Confessions of an Angry Girl by Louise Rosette. Essentially, it's about a girl that has anger issues. Girl, me too, okay? But I have no desire to read this. It's not in the best quality. I have no desire to read it. It's a YA book. It's about a teenager living with anger and she has like confessions to make. She's livid all the time. Her dad's dead. Her mom barely talks to her. Her brother abandoned her. She makes people furious all the time. She hates her school. And I even like the description, how it's written. It just seems very childish to me. I feel like, you know, anger issues is actually like, for me, a real thing. So I just have no desire to read this book. It sounds very childish. It sounds just not like my thing. And it's not in the greatest condition. And if I'm remembering correctly, this looks like a very old book. So next we have a book called The Running Dream by Wendelin Van Dranen. The person who wrote this actually wrote Flipped, which is a cutie little book and a movie. I read it and saw the movie in middle school. So already this book does not super appeal to me. It's about Jessica. She's a runner. She gets hurt. She's struggling to re-enter life and her passion of running. And she meets Rosa, a girl with cerebral palsy, and, you know, basically is like, my future's full of things I can do. This book is 3 years. I've had it for 3 years, 2 years. Have not read it. I'm gonna be honest. Do you wanna know why I haven't read it? Because it's not my book. It is my ex's book that I took him to Barnes once after I lent him one or two of my books that he read after like a surgery or something. When we broke up, I gave him some of his books back, but this was one of the ones he told me to keep. I don't want to keep this. It's nothing against him. I have no beef with him anymore. I have no anger towards him anymore. I just never wanted to keep this in the first place. He picked this out for him, not for me. So yeah. So we're down to the last two books. Second to last, we have Maybe Not by, you guessed it, Colleen Hoover. I feel like this is pretty self-explanatory. This is like a novella between Warren and Bridget. This is in the Maybe Someday series. I don't really know the timeline of that. Bridget's a badass, Warren's a piece of shit. That's all I got. I read this. This took me a while. Because this is like my third Colleen Hoover like novella. They all suck. I have found that all the men are misogynistic and shitty, and the girls are either really cool but treated like shit, or they're like pick-me's and like written like pick-me's, or just written annoying. And I'm sorry, I cannot get behind this book. I want it gone. I'm never gonna read this again. I want to do a video where I actually go through and reread the books I've rated Colleen Hoover 5 stars with and see if they're still 5 stars. And I also have a couple Colleen Hoover books still on my shelf that I will do a reading vlog with, because I want to know if 3 years later it is still worth the hype. But I will not be reading this again. I kind of just don't want to ever look at it again, and I want it off my shelf. The last book we have in this book unhaul is another book I have not read and I have no qualms with because I haven't read it. It is The Deal by Elle Kennedy. This is the indie published version by EKI. It's got like the glossy cover. It's got like the weird looking ISBN. Couldn't remember what it was called for a second. It's about Hannah and Garrett Graham. If you've read The Deal, it's super popular. This is from the Off-Campus series, by the way. Super popular series. This is just the indie published version that is the size of my head, and it's got the People cover. And now that they've re-released the covers with like kind of cartoon covers, which I still don't love, but now that they've re-released these books in different covers, I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. Like, I would rather those on my bookshelf than this. And I also, if I'm wrong, that stinks and I'll have to buy the books again. But I think that these are also on Kindle and or Kindle Unlimited. So I don't feel the need to have this in my bookshelf because she's huge. I had the other one and it like was half the size. I sold that earlier. So this is the last book that we are getting rid of. These aren't all of the books, but it's about 18 books in this book unhaul video that I'm getting rid of. I sold 9 today already, and I sold 10 today pre-filming this video, and then yesterday I sold 9. So I've already sold 19 books, getting rid of 18 more. And I will periodically be going through my bookshelf. If I decide I'm never gonna read this or I'm never gonna read this again, I'll be putting them on my Pango books. But yeah, that is my book unhaul. If you want to check out my Pango and buy any of my books, down below you'll find the link. I include a little cutie gift with every purchase I send out through Pango. And yeah, if you like this video, let me know. I know book hauls are actually my more popular videos, but if you like the book unhaul, let me know if you want another one. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, the usual YouTube stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. I love you, and I'll see you later. Bye, everybody.